Marina Vale lived carefully because life had taught her to. At 42, the Columbus native had learned to treat hope like crystal, precious, fragile, easy to shatter. Her divorce 3 years earlier had emptied her bank account and her spirit. She'd picked up doubles at the orthodontic clinic to keep the lights on and food in the fridge for her 2 girls. Dating felt like a luxury for people who slept through the night and didn't count grocery dollars. Her best friend Tasha pushed anyway. Over oatmeal and black coffee on a windy Thursday in March 2019, Tasha slid her phone across the table. "Download Hinge, I'll help. You're allowed to have a life, Rena." Marina resisted. Putting herself on display felt exposed, performative. But Tasha was relentless and kind in equal measure. Together, they chose photos that looked like real life. A shot from a trail run, one from a messy kitchen with cinnamon rolls in the background, a goofy selfie with her daughters. The bio was simple. Divorced. 2 teens, love long runs, documentaries, and Sunday mornings with a good latte. The first week brought a parade of disappointments. Profiles that evaporated, lines that started with compliments and ended with demands, men who wanted her time in exchange for nothing. Then, on a Monday lunch break, a notification, "You have a new match." He called himself Ethan Cole, mid-40s, a beagle tucked under one arm in one photo. A plain gray t-shirt and a modest front porch in another. His bio read widower. Small business owner, dog dad, looking for quiet joy. That word, widower, hit something soft inside her. Loss recognizes loss. His first message arrived 10 minutes later. "Your profile made me smile, Marina." Anyone who loves long runs and long-form podcasts is a keeper. Have you listened to the new Appalachian Cold Case series? She had. They traded theories for an hour. Motivations, timelines, the strange logics of people who do harm. He didn't push for her number. He didn't hint about late-night photos. He asked about her daughters' names, her favorite documentary, the best cinnamon roll in Columbus. Day 2 became day 3. He told her about Elena, his wife, gone 2 years to a fast illness. About coming home to silence and learning how to measure a day without a second heartbeat in the house. She told him about living through betrayal you can't take back, about finding a way to be steady so your kids can be soft. He wrote to her one night, "Single moms are the toughest people in any room. Your girls hit the jackpot." She read that line twice. When was the last time anyone called her life evidence of strength instead of a mess to be managed? By Thursday, Ethan's good mornings arrived before her alarm. "Hope the day's gentle on you," he'd send. It mattered. It slid into the empty spaces and turned the temperature up a notch, so when he asked to meet, she said yes. Coffee on Saturday, 2 p.m. at Walnut and Vine in German Village. That was her plan. He countered with an invitation. "There's a little place near Hocking Hills I haven't been to in years. Cedar Ridge Coffee. They roast their own beans and there's a quiet trail nearby. I'll drive. We can grab coffee, walk a bit. It's peaceful," he added a joking line. "And no, I'm not an axe murderer. I don't even own an axe."
He included a laughing emoji.
She laughed too. Hocking Hills in early spring was less busy, more breath than buzz. An hour south felt like intention, not convenience. She set a boundary. "I'm sharing everything with my friend. Where I'm going, who you are, all of it." "Good," he replied instantly. "Smart. I'll send over my full name, my LLC registration, and my driver's license number. Please check me out. Your safety matters to me." That night, Marina sat with her laptop and her skepticism. She verified an Ethan Andrew Cole, who owned Cole Restoration, an LLC on file for 6 years. The address matched the porch in his photo. No visible criminal record. She even found an obituary for an Elena A. Cole, taken by a rare cancer in 2017. Bits aligned, the story held. Friday morning, Ethan sent details and choices. "I can pick you up at noon or we can meet there. Your call." Cedar Ridge is on a ridge road past Logan. Hard to miss. Marina weighed risks. Meeting there was safer. Letting him pick her up felt like trust, and she had a plan. Tasha would have his info, his plate, his business registration. Her daughters would have their mom's live location pinged to them and a check-in schedule. "You can pick me up," she wrote, after looking at the open, ordinary photos yet again. "But I'm checking in with Tasha every hour." "Perfect. See you at noon." I'm looking forward to it more than I should admit. Saturday arrived warm and kind. Light spilled across the apartment as Marina pulled on her softest jeans and a forest green sweater that made her eyes look brighter. She tucked a small bottle of pepper spray into her bag and charged her phone to 100%. Her older daughter, Maya, hovered near the door. Are you sure? Maya's brows knit. You don't really know him. I did my homework, Marina said gently. Tasha has everything. I'll call every hour. And you know me, I'll bail if it feels wrong. A blue Toyota Tacoma pulled in precisely at noon. Ethan climbed out, jeans and a flannel the color of river water, hair neatly trimmed. Ordinary handsome. Unthreateningly normal, Ms. Vale, he said with a shy smile. You're even lovelier off-screen. This is my daughter, Maya, Marina said. Maya, this is Ethan, he nodded to Maya. Your mom's proud of you. She told me about your art portfolio. Take care of her, Maya said, working to sound tough. Mom, call me. I will, Marina promised. The first miles were easy. Ethan asked real questions and listened. He talked about his restoration jobs, old plaster walls and hidden water damage, the satisfaction of making something sturdy again. She spoke about the orthodontic clinic, about kids trying to smile through rubber bands and insecurity, about handing people a better mirror. She texted Tasha at 20 minutes. All good, past Lancaster. Easy conversation, Tasha answered fast. Enjoy, but keep your radar up. US 33 unspooled south. Fields gave way to low hills. Budding trees framed the road like green lace. How'd you find Cedar Ridge? Marina asked. Elena loved it, he said quietly. We'd drive down on Sundays and walk until we stopped thinking about hospitals. I haven't gone back. Thought maybe it was time. It got quieter the deeper they drove. Service bars dipped, then returned, then disappeared again. Ethan turned off the highway onto a county route, then off that onto a narrower road where the canopy thickened. Marina checked her phone. 1 bar. Then none. Service gets spotty in the park, Ethan said, noticing. Cedar Ridge has Wi-Fi. We'll be online soon. It wasn't panic she felt. More like a string pulled too tight. The road forked unexpectedly, and he chose the arm that looked like a service lane. Gravel crackled under the tires. Branches skimmed the sides of the truck. The air thinned with something that wasn't spring. This doesn't look like a coffee road, Marina said lightly. It's a back way, he answered, his tone steady but oddly flat. Locals use it. We're minutes out. Something in her snapped inward like a folding knife. Turn around, she said, calm and firm. Take me back to the main road. We're almost there, he said without meeting her eyes. His hands gripped the wheel too hard. Turn, around. His right hand shot out. Not aggressive at first, then tighter. He clamped her wrist. The warmth was gone from his face. What looked like kindness had washed away, leaving only calculation. Don't. You'll fall if the door opens while we're moving, he said evenly. The truck rolled into a small clearing, the engine idling like a heartbeat. He shut it off. Silence descended, just birds and the sound of the truck's metal settling. He reached behind his seat and drew a knife with a dull sheen to its blade. This is what's next, he said almost gently. You'll do exactly what I ask and you'll keep breathing. Or you'll make it ugly. Marina's mind picked up speed. Fight, flee, freeze, she breathed. She thought of her girls. She thought of the friend waiting for her check-in. She thought of every story she'd listened to, every line about trusting your gut. My phone, she said, keeping her voice level, her eyes on his. Let me turn it off so nobody can find us. That's what you want. Slowly, he said, holding out his palm. Her fingers shook so badly she nearly fumbled. Instead of powering down, she triggered the emergency alert her daughter had insisted she learn months ago. Her phone buzzed once in her hand, silent to everyone but her. Maybe the ping would reach a tower. Maybe it wouldn't. Hope is a stubborn thing. She passed the device over. He glanced, saw the dark screen, tossed it on the dash. Out! He gestured toward the tree line with the knife. The clearing was 20, maybe 30 feet across. The trees pressed in, dense and indifferent. He moved with practiced distance a few feet behind, just out of reach. Why? She asked as they walked. What are you, really? He laughed softly. Does it matter? Was any of it true, Elena? There was an Elena, he said, almost affectionate with the name, but not the way you think. She never liked coffee. They stepped into a second clearing, smaller, the ground oddly mottled. Disturbed earth. Edges of something like careful forgetting. Marina's stomach turned. Kneel, he said. Her knees locked. Something inside of her cooled and sharpened. No, He tilted his head. I'd rather this be quick. I won't make it easy, she said, her voice suddenly clear. If you want to hurt me, you'll work for it. I'll make noise. I'll leave marks. You won't forget me. He hesitated. It was a moment, but it was everything. She kept going. My friend has your name, your plate, your LLC. My phone sent an alert. You brought me somewhere you've used before. You always do that. Patterns get caught. They get mapped. You're bluffing, he said, but his eyes flicked back toward the truck. Am I? She took a small step back, closer to the bigger trees. You can go check. Of course that means turning around. That means taking your eyes off me. That means risk. A muscle in his jaw jumped. He adjusted his grip on the knife. Marina ran, not down the trail, not along the obvious line. She dove sideways into brush, branches raking her forearms and face. She heard him behind her, crashing, cursing, his size suddenly working against him in the close trees. She cut left, then right, then left again, breath tearing through her chest. She thought of water. Streams lead to people. The ground sloped away and gave under her shoes. She slid down a muddy bank, grabbed a root, lost it, and landed hard in cold, shallow water. The shock lit her nerves. She scrambled to her feet and moved downstream, knees high, feet careful. The water muffled sound and carried scent away. She didn't know if that was a myth or a fact. She chose to believe it. Time stretched thin. 10 minutes, 30. The creek widened and curved, and just beyond a bend lay a crude bridge. Planks, old nails, the remnant of a logging road. She clawed up the bank, mud streaking her jeans, and stumbled onto the narrow track. Left or right? Right felt like luck, so she took it. An engine hummed in the distance. She stepped into the middle of the lane, waving her arms, voice shredded. Help, please! A red pickup rounded the bend and braked hard. A white-haired man in a ball cap threw his door open. Good Lord, he said, running toward her. Bev, call 911. His wife held up a phone, her voice tight. No bars. Get in, the man urged, guiding Marina to the back seat with a hand that trembled. We'll drive till we find signal. They bounced over ruts. Marina clung to the seat and told them everything in fragments. A fake name. A blue truck, a knife, a clearing with bad earth. 1 bar, Bev cried, jubilant and terrified at once. I've got it. 911, what's your emergency? The words poured out. Athens County Sheriff, Ohio State Highway Patrol. Meet at the junction of County Road 25 and State Route 664. Help is coming. And my phone. Did it send anything? Marina asked, breath catching. An emergency alert? Bev listened, nodded. Dispatch says they got a ping about 25 minutes ago. It was faint, but it landed. They were already moving units. Marina pressed her palms together and cried. Relief isn't gentle. It breaks you open. At the intersection, 3 cruisers waited, blue and red lights splashing across trees. Paramedics leaned in, soft-voiced and competent. A lieutenant from the sheriff's office crouched beside her, a map folded under his elbow. His name tag read Parker. Ms. Vale, he said quietly. I'm Lieutenant Parker. I know this is hard, but I need everything you can give me. Where did he turn? Any landmarks? Scents? Sounds? She forced her mind to be clinical. Blue Tacoma. After US 33, a county road, then gravel, then something like a service track. 2 clearings. The second with turned earth. He used the name Ethan Cole. He mentioned Elena. He said she swallowed. He said she wasn't the first. Parker's jaw tightened. He snapped orders into his radio. We need K9 and drones in the air. Set a perimeter from 6 on 64 east to the forest access roads. If he's on foot, we'll pinch. A deputy jogged up with an evidence bag. We found the truck. Parker stood. Where? Abandoned off a fire lane a mile north. Doors open, keys in the ignition. We also recovered a phone. It matches the description. My phone, Marina said, voice small. The deputy lifted another bag. And this, a wallet. Driver's license says Ethan Cole. State says it's fraudulent. We ran latent prints. Real name is Caleb Morgan Riker, 47. Prior assault in Michigan 2009. Questioned in 2 missing person cases out of Illinois in 2015 and 2016. Never charged. He had a wife, Elena Riker, reported missing from Grand Rapids in 2017. That case went cold when he moved. Marina's body went cold, then hot. He used her name the way people keep souvenirs. Parker's face hardened. We're treating this as a serial case. FBI's en route to assist. We'll find whatever is out there. The next hours were a study in motion. Drones buzzed and mapped heat signatures. K-9 teams pulled hard at their leads, noses down, moving toward the coordinates the emergency ping had sketched. A helicopter thumped overhead, its searchlight carving white arcs into green. Roadblocks went up. Forest access gates clanged shut. Tasha arrived with Maya and 13-year-old Zoe. The girls folded into their mother, sobbing and angry and relieved. Parker gave them space, then returned with a measured voice. "Our teams have cadaver dog alerts at 7 separate points in that clearing," he said. "We're bringing in forensic archaeologists. It'll take time." Marina nodded, tears slicking her face. "He told me I'd be number 8. "We'll find them," Parker promised. "All of them. And we'll put a name to every set of remains, however long it takes." By nightfall, search teams had mapped the clearing and flagged each suspicious patch of earth. Evidence techs worked under floodlights. A tarp went up. Quiet competence spread through the site like a balm. Back at a hastily assembled command post, a woman with an FBI badge introduced herself. "I'm Special Agent Lila Garrison," she said, sitting beside Marina. "We're digging into his digital life. He used at least 6 dating platforms under different names, different cities, different dogs. We're filtering for women who stopped responding, who match missing persons in Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, and Illinois." "How many?" Tasha asked, voice small. "Hundreds of contacts," Garrison said. "But we're focusing on those with meeting plans, those who vanished soon after." Marina stared at the whiteboard. It bloomed with names, possible, probable, confirmed. She pressed her palms to her eyes. "I could have been chalk on a list," she whispered. "Just another silent phone." "You're not," Parker said. "You didn't go silent. And because you didn't, other families won't have to guess anymore." Around 11, a voice came through the radio, steady and grave. "Command Search Team 1, we have located human remains. Multiple sets. Beginning recovery." The room absorbed it without theatrics. Heads bowed. Pens clicked. A machine built for justice shifted into gear. The manhunt stretched into a second day. News trucks found the outer perimeter and beamed the story across the Midwest. Marina turned off the room's television and then turned it back on and then off again. Reporters called her phone in waves until she gave it to Tasha and buried her face in a motel pillow. The break came from a gas station off I-77 in West Virginia. An attendant saw the broadcast, watched a man with a stitched-up hand pay in cash, and called it in after he pulled away in a gray Civic with Pennsylvania plates. When troopers lit him up, he ran. The chase ended with a hiss of steam and the loud, ugly sound of metal against concrete. He lived. He was airlifted under guard. Parker called Marina himself. "We have him," he said, voice finally loose with relief. "He's not leaving custody again." The trial began 11 months later in an Ohio courtroom where the air tasted like paper and history. Marina had spent the time doing the work, trauma therapy, early mornings, hard conversations with her daughters, patience and kindness with herself on days she couldn't pretend. She met the families of the women whose lives had been stolen and whose names now lived on the whiteboard's confirmed column. Deanna Wells, 44, mother of 2, last seen in Bloomington. Carlene Guyen, 38, nurse from Toledo. Patrice Moreno, 41, high school counselor out of Fort Wayne. A teacher from Indianapolis named Allison Reed. A widow from Champaign named Louise Baker. Elena Riker, 39, teacher, loving aunt, a person turned into a false story. On the stand, Marina spoke like the best witness, clean, precise, not embellishing the horror because it didn't need help. She stated what he'd said, where he'd driven, what the ground looked like, how the knife caught the light. When the prosecutor asked why she ran, she answered without poetry. "Because my daughter still needed me," she said. "Because someone had to live to say their names out loud in places like this. Because I refused to make it simple for him." The defense tried to paint uncertainty where there was none. Forensic science, digital footprints, cell tower pings, vehicle paint transfers, soil analysis, all of it rose up like a choir. The jury didn't need long. Guilty on 6 counts of aggravated murder. Guilty of attempted murder. Guilty of kidnapping. Guilty of identity fraud and related charges. Sentenced to life without parole, stacked end to end so the possibility of freedom never entered the room again. Other jurisdictions waited their turn. On the courthouse steps, the families gathered around Marina. Deanna's eldest reached for her. "You gave us answers," she said, voice breaking. And you gave him a face in public. He doesn't get to be a shadow anymore? Marina hugged her as if they'd known each other forever. I'm sorry I couldn't stop him sooner, she whispered. You stopped him, the young woman replied. That's enough. 3 years later, the gym at Eastview High smelled like fresh varnish in spring. Rows of girls and boys sat shoulder to shoulder while a woman who looked like someone's neighbor stepped up to a portable mic. Marina talked about red flags without scaring them senseless. Too perfect, too fast? Isolation disguised as romance. Plans that pull you somewhere remote. The difference between paranoia and intuition is that intuition has receipts. Your body knows. She told them what she did right. She told them what she'd do differently now. She told them about the emergency alert her daughter had made her practice. And she told them the thing she most wanted them to carry out the door, that the brave choice isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's telling a friend where you're going. Sometimes it's turning around even if you're afraid of looking rude. A student raised a hand. Are you scared to date again? Yes, she said simply and smiled. And I did it anyway, slowly and carefully. Fear can ride along without steering. After the talk, Maya met her in the parking lot in a university sweatshirt. She was studying criminology now, asking questions for a living. Zoe handed her a flyer for a campus vigil she was organizing for survivors. The girls were taller, funnier, fiercer than she had imagined on nights when the future felt like a locked room. They drove home on a road that cut through a city that had kept her alive. They passed a mural of faces, women and men still unaccounted for, a long wall of love and unfinished stories. Marina touched the window as they passed and whispered a promise no one heard but her. In the years that followed, she helped build a small nonprofit with Tasha called the Quiet Signal Project. It taught practical digital safety. It offered counseling stipends. It lobbied quietly for a state bill that required dating apps to surface safety tools and provide transparent reporting pathways. People called the bill Marina's Law even though her name wasn't on it. On warm days, she ran city trails, steady and deliberate. When the air smelled like rain and cut grass, she remembered a clearing in a forest and the hum of a truck that didn't move. She remembered being meant for a number. 8. She remembered how the human heart can refuse a script. She had been marked for a hole in the ground. Instead, she became the line that stopped the counting.